Amazing. So, dear friend, you are welcome to Nugget of Wisdom session with your host, Joseph Osafo. And a song we just sang, if you are not very familiar with the Tree language, is just inviting the believer to just concentrate on God and not to be very bothered about life's challenges and vicissitudes, because God can take care of you. But today I'm talking about a mini subject I call Move On. I like to begin from reading a scripture from the second book of the book of Kings. And the story is simply about Samaria that has been besieged and there's famine. The entire story talks about Elisha declaring to the people that tomorrow about this time there'll be food. He says that a seah of fine flour shall be sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel at the gate of Samaria. Now some didn't believe it. The story continues in the verse 3 through to about 5, and it introduces us to 4 leprous men. And they were kept, by the law of Moses at, the back of the city. If you like, they are behind the walls. They are not supposed to be in the city because of the strict regulations of those who are actually struck with this disease called leprosy. So I like to listen to these guys who were right outside the city. The city is besieged. There is no food. And the guys are equally dying of hunger. Then they decided to take a step. And I like to read the story for your hearing. And then I'll bring you a nugget of wisdom. He says, now there were 4 leprous men at the entrance of the city gate. And they said to one another, why are we sitting here until we die? If we say we will enter the city, the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. If we sit here, we die also. Now therefore come, let us surrender to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall only die. And they arose at twilight to go to the camp of the Syrians. And when they had come to the outskirts of the Syrian camp, to their surprise, no one was there. For the Lord had caused the army of the Syrians to hear the noise of the chariot and the noise of the horses, the noise of a great army. So they said to one another, look, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to attack us. I like to just pay attention to the story. Beautiful story with powerful nuggets on decision and movement. First and foremost, these 4 leprous guys know their location. They know their state. They know where they are. They are located at the outskirts of the city. Secondly, they are very much aware of their current situation, which is that they are hungry. The third thing about these guys is that they know where they could be life. So they said that let's go to the city. So they know when they enter the city, there could be life. But the fourth is quite interesting, which is the focus of my talk to you, is that they know that their movement shall come with a cost. It's either they stay and die, or they move and die. What a very difficult choice to make. And yet the Bible says that they decided movement, to take a movement. In other words, they decided to take a step instead of enjoying the inertia and then, keeping themselves together because they are afraid. So they took a decision that let us move instead of staying at this place. Movement is powerful. Movement can be a decision. Movement can be practically taking a step. Movement can be just picking a phone and calling someone. Movement is simply action. So this young man, or leprous man, I should say, took the step. In other words, they saw life in their motion. Did you hear that? They saw life in their motion. Movement was going to bring them life. Whereas embracing stationariness, staying at the same place, was going to kill them. That's not the only thing. They also believed that even in their movement, there is still risk. But they were still ready to take the risk anyway. Someone has once said that failure to take a risk is a risk itself. Did you hear that? Think about it. Failure to take a risk is by itself a risk. So they decided to take a risk and go into the camp of the Assyrians. Now you heard what I said. When they took the step and they were heading towards the camp, the scriptures say God amplified their steps. That it sounded like that of horses and chariots. Amazing. They did not pray. They did not fast. They did not declare a 40-day special all night. It was simply the right decision. I can tell you something, friend, that movement is powerful. And I believe that life without movement has no mission. Or life without motion has no mission. Please listen to me. Life without motion has no mission. So the steps you take in life determine your state. I love that. The steps you take in life determine your state. If you focus on the movement, you will see the improvement. All you have to do is to focus on the movement, and then you will see the improvement. Because you see, at the gate, they were leprous. But when they got to the camp, they became heroes. I'm speaking to you, my sister. I'm speaking to you, brother. I'm speaking to you, pastor. That decision ought to be taken. I'm speaking to you, young man who is in school. That decision ought to be taken. Life without motion has no mission. If you cannot take action and you cannot be active in movement in terms of taking decision, you will stay at the same place. Ideas have died at the same place. Visions have died at the same place. Very fantastic revelations of what you want to become have died sitting at the same place. I counsel you, take that step today. Your mission is at the cry and the mercy of your motion. Move out of your comfort zone. Move out of the particular place you feel that is where you ought to be. Break loose and step out. It's about time you wrote that application letter. It's about time you placed that call. It's about time you said somebody, I'm sorry, so that you can build connections again. It's about time you step out of that room and moved out. Let me end on the note of this nugget. That life without motion has no mission. And that the steps you take in life, they determine your state. If you focus on the movement, then you will see the improvement. You You can be at the gate today, but by the next day, you will be at another place as a hero. I believe that you picked something out of this. And don't forget that your progress in life is at the mercy of your motion. I will come your way some other time to bless you with another nugget of wisdom. Until then, stay blessed, be good, and love the Lord. Shalom, peace, and life to you. Bye-bye.